Gas just hit $4.48 a gallon. We are literally at war in the Middle East, and the president is staring down a brutal 62% disapproval rating. Welcome to The Explainer. I'm the co-director of Universal News Frontier, and today we're diving straight into why the 2026 midterms are shaping up to be one of the most volatile stress tests in American history.
Let's look at the pump first. Right now, the national average for a gallon of gas just hit $4.48. That is an absolutely agonizing 50% spike since the conflict with Iran, what they're calling Operation Epic Fury first began. You know, it's not just a number on a sign. It is a massive structural shock to the entire economy.
And compounding all of this economic pain, the president is currently sitting at a record-high 62% disapproval rating. We aren't just looking at your standard midterm friction here. What we're actually seeing is an electorate deeply, deeply anxious about the cost of living and the overall direction of the country.
So here's the bigger picture we really need to interpret today. We are effectively at war in the Middle East, and we've got to understand exactly how this foreign crisis is crashing headfirst into domestic pocketbooks right before November. I mean, is the America First doctrine about to just totally collide with a blue wall of economic reality?
To grasp the immense stakes here, let's establish the baseline. Right now, Republicans are holding on to incredibly fragile, razor-thin majorities in both chambers. We're talking 217 to 212 in the House and 53 to 47 in the Senate. A swing of literally just a few seats in either direction completely rewrites the legislative agenda for the next 2 years.
Now, if history is any guide, major military engagements always ripple right into our elections. Look at the timeline here. The launch of Operation Epic Fury in late February triggered an immediate energy crisis. And that forced the administration to launch, and then very rapidly pause, the defensive naval escorts we know as Project Freedom. It's essentially a high-stakes chain reaction playing out in real time.
And the catalyst for that entire chain reaction? The Strait of Hormuz. When Operation Epic Fury effectively closed off this super narrow waterway, it choked off roughly 20% of the world's crude oil and liquefied natural gas. Just like that, it instantly created a global supply shock that we really don't have a modern precedent for.
Okay, so why does this matter at your kitchen table? Well, this isn't just some abstract geopolitical maneuvering happening thousands of miles away. It acts exactly like a direct, immediate tax on the American consumer. It's literally robbing median-earning households of about 1% of their post-tax income, and it's hitting the lowest earners with a brutal 5% loss. That is just devastating for family budgets.
Now, this is where it gets genuinely surprising, and honestly, geographically ironic. Constituents in Republican-held House districts actually drive an average of 26% more miles than those in Democratic districts. Think about what that data illustrates. The GOP's own base is the absolute most acutely sensitive to gas price volatility. That means the administration's foreign policy is inadvertently disproportionately punishing its own core voters the hardest. The America First coalition is being uniquely strained from the inside out. And you can see the political fallout clear as day right here in the polling. While national disapproval of the war's management sits at 60%, the president's approval among his very own party has actually dropped a full 7% since March. This economic pain is actively fracturing the partisan base. The picture gets even starker when we look at the youth vote. As this quote from the recent Yale Youth poll perfectly highlights, young voters are not focused on artificial intelligence or the nuances of foreign policy. No, they are totally zeroed in on bathtub economics and just this overarching deep anxiety about the cost of living and the perceived deterioration of democratic norms. So, structurally speaking, we are looking at a massive head-on collision. In one corner, you've got these major Republican institutional advantages, things like highly favorable mid-decade redistricting in Texas and Florida, backed by a staggering $4.6 billion PAC money wall. But in the other corner, you have a massive Democratic polling wave fueled entirely by affordability anger, featuring a 5 to 10-point generic ballot lead and a whopping 30-point lead among voters under 30. But here's the crazy twist. Despite literal billions of dollars flooding the zone, there are actually only 16 true toss-up districts in the House this cycle. That's the fewest on record since 1984. So the battlefield itself is incredibly small, but the intensity off the charts. Meanwhile, moving over to the Senate, it's
basically a defensive nightmare for the GOP right now. They are being forced to protect 22 of the 33 seats up for grabs. Combine that defensive posture with a wave of 11 high-profile senior lawmaker retirements, and you end up with massive, high-stakes spending in crucial battlegrounds like Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio.
Oh, and we can't forget to add 39 state-level gubernatorial races to the mix. These are absolutely not just local elections. They're serving as localized referendums on major national issues. Everything from healthcare to the localized fallout over the Trump administration's successful effort to defund NPR and PBS, these things are completely firing up the Democratic base at the state level.
So, taking all the structural realities we've covered in this explainer into account, I want to give you some realistic predictions. My first prediction is that Democrats are going to flip the House by a margin of more than 5 seats. The reasoning here boils down to momentum versus map lines. Look, even with the GOP's redistricting wins in states like Texas and Florida, the sheer demographic weight of a 30-point Democratic advantage among voters under 30 is just going to overpower the map in those 16 super tight districts. Simply put, affordability anger is vastly outpacing structural gerrymandering.
My second prediction is this. If history is any guide, I'd expect to see Project Freedom resume with significantly higher military intensity before the end of the summer, likely by August.
See, the current pause is clearly a tactical move just to cool oil markets down temporarily. But if the ongoing negotiations in Pakistan fail to permanently unfreeze assets and lift that Iranian blockade, well, the administration won't have a choice. They are going to have to force the strait open militarily just to save the economy from a total collapse before Election Day.
And that brings us to the ultimate question we are facing as a country right now. If gas stays above $4.50, does the America First message still actually work? Or have voters' wallets officially become more important than foreign policy goals? I really want to hear your specific opinion on this. How do you think this collision of war and wallet will play out at the ballot box this November? Let's settle it in the comments below.